All right, so let's dive right in, shall we? You're taking a closer look at the Mufasa, the Lion King premiere,
Yeah.
and specifically all the buzz surrounding JayZ being there,
Hmm.
especially with those recent allegations against him.
Definitely a lot to unpack there.
Exactly. So we've got two sources for this deep dive. We've got this Daily Express article, right?
Right.
And then a whole Reddit thread that just blew up based on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people are really talking about this. I mean, it's JayZ, Beyonce, Disney.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
It's a recipe for a media frenzy, that's for sure.
Totally. So let's jump in this Daily Express piece. It kind of sets the scene, right? JayZ at the premiere, Beyonce, Blue Ivy, the whole family.
The power couple.
Yeah, exactly. But, the article mentions that Disney was kind of hesitant about having him there.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently there were some concerns. But of course, Beyonce is Beyonce, right?
Okay.
So it seems like her influence ultimately won out.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's a powerhouse.
Totally. So what do you make of that whole dynamic? Like a huge corporation like Disney, and then you've got Beyonce and JayZ, this like ultimate power couple.
Well, it definitely says something about Beyonce's pull. I mean, the article even quotes an insider calling her the deciding factor in JayZ being there.
Wow, the deciding factor.
Yeah. And, think about it. She's always been super strategic with her image, her career, everything. This move to me, it just screams calculated. Presenting a united front, but also like making it Blue Ivy's night.
Right, her first premiere.
Exactly. It's this delicate balancing act, and she somehow manages to pull it off.
It's pretty impressive when you think about it.
Definitely.
And, the article mentions how they kept it super limited on the red carpet, just photos, no interviews,
Controlling the narrative.
Exactly. Like, this is the image we want out there, and that's it.
Smart.
Totally. But, there's this other little detail in the article that kind of stuck with me. They mentioned Blue Ivy appearing scared and sad at the event. Yeah, it's like, it's got to be a lot for a 12-year-old to process, right?
Absolutely. Especially with all the added pressure of it being her first premiere and everything.
Yeah, you're right. It's like on top of everything else, she's got the weight of this whole situation on her shoulders.
And she's still just a kid,
Right, exactly. It's hard not to feel for her in all of this. But, let's address the elephant in the room here.
Yeah.
Those sexual assault allegations against JayZ.
Hmm.
The article mentions them. They stem from a lawsuit back in 2000, and obviously he's denied them.
Right.
But, there's no denying that they cast a shadow over this whole event,
For sure. It's a reminder that, behind all the glitz and glamour of these premieres, there are some serious issues at play.
Yeah, you're right. And the public is definitely aware of those allegations, which I think, definitely shapes how they're seeing this whole premiere thing.
Absolutely. It adds another layer of complexity to how this is all being perceived.
Exactly. Which brings us to, what everyone's saying online, that crazy Reddit thread.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into that.
Because people have a lot of thoughts.
They always do.
That's for sure.
It's like you can almost feel that tension, right? And the thread.
Yeah.
People are trying to, grapple with it all.
Totally. Like, on one hand, it's, the Lion King, this big premiere, all the excitement.
Right. The spectacle.
Yeah. But then on the other hand, you've got these serious allegations.
And it's all playing out in the court of public opinion.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this whole thing so, fascinating to me. You see that entire conflict play out in the comments.
No, absolutely. There's this whole group of people who just see it as a PR move by Disney.
Right, like a calculated business decision.
Exactly. Weighing the pros and cons, figuring out if JayZ being there is worth the potential backlash,
Yeah, like damage control.
Totally.
And then there's this other angle that I saw pop up a few times in the thread.
Okay, what's that?
People are bringing up the whole Johnny Depp thing from a few years back.
Oh, interesting.
Remember that? When Disney cut ties with him because of the abuse allegations?
Yeah. And then there were all those rumors about them maybe bringing him back.
Right. So people are wondering if, maybe with JayZ, Disney's trying to be extra careful,
Trying to learn from their past experiences.
Exactly. Which makes me think, do you think they felt pressured?
Oh, pressured to make a decision?
Yeah, almost forced into it.
Well, you can't deny Beyonce's power, right? Not just as a star, but also as a potential partner for Disney for future projects.
That's true.
Some people are even saying that if JayZ wasn't welcome, Beyonce and Blue Ivy wouldn't have shown up at all.
Ooh, that would have been a whole other headline.
Beyonce snubs Disney.
A PR nightmare.
Total nightmare.
So it really all comes back to that power dynamic we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah, Disney's huge, but Beyonce has her own leverage.
That's like a game of chess,
Yeah.
figuring out everyone's next move.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's that whole ethical dimension that comes up in the thread, too.
Right.
Like, a lot of people are really concerned that Disney's basically overlooking these serious allegations.
Especially for a kid's movie premiere, right?
Exactly. They're questioning if Disney is prioritizing profit over, taking a moral stand.
And that's where you get into that whole innocent until proven guilty debate.
Oh, yeah. Classic internet argument.
Totally. Like, some people are saying, hey, we need to wait for the legal process to play out.
Due process.
Exactly.
Right.
But then others are like, nope, the allegations are enough. We're making up our minds now.
It's that whole court of public opinion thing again.
And it's powerful.
Oh, for sure. Especially in the age of social media.
Where everything spreads so fast.
Instantly.
Yeah, and it can have real consequences even before any legal judgment is made.
That's the scary part, right?
It is. It's like, how do we reconcile the need for due process with, the speed at which public opinion forms online?
It's a tough question.
It is. So where do we go from here? I mean, what happens next? For Disney, for Beyonce, for JayZ?
Well, that's what we're going to explore next.
Because this deep dive is far from over. So we've covered the premiere itself. We dove into that Reddit thread, saw what everyone's saying.
Yeah, things are definitely heating up.
But this whole story, it's, still going.
It is. And, the Reddit thread had some interesting thoughts about what might happen next.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, a lot of people pointed out that JayZ probably won't be at the UK premiere.
Interesting.
Yeah, and some think it's a deliberate choice to avoid more scrutiny.
Makes sense.
But others are saying it's just a scheduling thing.
So it's like, which is it,
Right, but if he is skipping it on purpose, it makes you think, like, is this the beginning of a bigger strategy?
Ooh, like how they're going to handle this whole thing going forward.
Exactly. So this premiere was like a test run.
A way to see how people would react.
Exactly.
And now they adjust, you know?
Right. Do they stick with that united front? Or do they try to distance themselves from the controversy?
So many possibilities.
And that's where looking at Disney's history can be really helpful.
You mean like how they've handled similar situations before?
Exactly. We already talked about the Johnny Depp thing, but there was also the whole James Gunn situation.
Oh, yeah, when they fired him from Guardians of the Galaxy for those old tweets.
Right, and then they rehired him later.
So what do you think? Based on those examples, are they more likely to, stick with Beyonce, even if it means some bad press?
It's hard to say for sure. I mean, Disney is all about their image, especially that family-friendly brand.
Yeah.
Alienating a big chunk of their audience is risky.
But Beyonce is huge, she's a global icon.
She is. And she's valuable to them, not just for The Lion King, but for future projects, too.
Right, so cutting ties with her would be a big loss.
Major blow, yeah. And this whole thing has really put them in the spotlight.
Totally. All eyes on them.
Every decision they make, every statement they put out, it's being analyzed.
They're walking a tightrope.
Trying to please everyone.
Their shareholders, the audience, their creative partners.
It's a high-stakes situation, for sure.
And you can't forget about that changing cultural landscape we talked about.
Right.
People are demanding more accountability these days.
Oh, yeah.
More aware of power dynamics and definitely more vocal about holding powerful figures accountable.
Especially online.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so relevant to everyone, right?
Absolutely. It's not just gossip. It's about bigger issues.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've talked about a lot: celebrity, corporate strategy, public opinion.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. But it all comes back to these bigger questions about power, accountability, the role of social media.
And those are questions that we all need to think about.
Exactly. We've explored this situation from different angles, but, we've only scratched the surface.
There's always more to uncover.
As this story continues to unfold, think about what we talked about today.
The power of corporations, the influence of celebrities.
And the power of our collective voices online.
It's a force to be reckoned with.
It really is. So as we leave you today, keep those questions in mind.
Keep questioning, keep exploring.
And keep the conversation going.
Because that's how we make sense of it all.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.